Standing up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence. This meeting has been called in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, and that an announcement of the same has been mailed to the local newspapers and to the clerk of the Borough of Belmar, and the minutes of this meeting will be available after board approval at a subsequent meeting. Roll call.
Commissioner Lynch is absent. Commissioner Orchard?
Here.
Commissioner Sharrock is absent. Commissioner Ramey?
Here.
Commissioner Casterly?
Here.
Commissioner McCracken?
Here.
Commissioner Massano?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. And the approval of the minutes of the May 6th, 2024 meeting.
I will tell you second. You know, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, just talk a little loud. I don't have it. I don't.
Okay.
Oh, no one's screaming at me yet.
No. So I just need a motion for the approval of the May 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Orchard?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramey?
Yes.
Commissioner Casterly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCracken?
Yes.
Commissioner Massano?
Yes.
Okay, we have approval for the minutes of the, oh, what's this?
Closed session minutes.
Oh, closed session
May
minutes.
6th.
Executive minutes, right.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'll make a motion of that.
I'll second.
Commissioner Orchard?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramey?
Yes.
Commissioner Casterly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCracken?
Yes.
Commissioner Massano?
Yes.
Right. Review and approval of the June bills.
Any questions on the bills for the month of June? Just need a motion if there's
If
no
not, I'll make a
questions.
motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Orchard?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramey?
Yes.
Commissioner Casterly?
Yes.
Commissioner McCracken?
Yes.
Commissioner Massano?
Yes.
Alright. Executive director is not here.
Yes, no report tonight from the executive director.
Any correspondence?
No, ma'am.
Any old business? No new business. It's gonna be pretty quick. Reports from the commissioners. Anybody have anything?
I would just like to make a remark that tomorrow is primary election day. Please come out and participate in the process.
So do we have any remarks from the general public? Okay.
Mayor?
I would rather sit if you don't mind, because my back is killing me. I'm just gonna move this over. Gerald Bucafusco, Mayor of Belmar. Around May 21st of this year, myself, Business Administrator Kevin Kane, and Councilwoman Maria Rondinaro met with Director DeSantis regarding a possible change to the admissions and occupancy policy for the Belmar Housing Authority. At that time, we gave him correspondence, and I believe he copied that correspondence to all the commissioners.
Actually, he sent it to me last week and I was away on vacation, so they have not gotten it yet.
Okay, well, since I'm here, let me just, when you get it, this is what will be the gist of that. In the process of trying to meet our third round of affordable housing obligations in the borough, which we're under a very, very tight time frame to meet, we discovered that obviously this building is not part of the affordable housing plan of the borough. It could become part of the affordable housing plan, and if it did, it would give us actually, give you two benefits. Number one, the borough, as part of our plan, has an affordable housing trust fund, and based on the ordinance, when certain residential and non-residential properties are constructed, builders have to put money into this affordable housing trust fund. And the way it works is if the building was part of the affordable housing system that we have, part of our plan, what they call our housing element, the borough would then be able to use those funds to apply to the housing authority for improvements and things like that. So it would be a source of revenue that you don't have now. The other thing is that, well, let me just back up for a second. The way that the housing authority can become part of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is the residency requirement has to be broadened to the region that we're in, which is Monmouth, Mercer, and Ocean counties. Right now, you have a local preference for Belmar. Okay, so that local preference would have to be changed to Monmouth, Mercer, and Ocean. Upon doing that, then the housing authority would become eligible to receive funds from the borough through the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The other thing it would actually benefit the borough residents on is if a borough resident had, for example, a family member who lived in Monmouth, Mercer, or Ocean counties that wanted to reside in the Belmar, in this unit here, in this structure, then they would be able to apply, because that region would be encompassed in the in your documents. So it wouldn't be just limited to Belmar residents only. And at the same time, it gives the borough just a number. We would get a number of affordable housing units credited to the affordable housing plan that we have here in Belmar. It doesn't take anything away from the units that are here. It's just a number that is basically credited to the borough for having your 50 units here. So basically, when we talked to the director, he said he was going to distribute this so that the board members could review it and, you know, ask questions about it. And you know, unfortunately, that hasn't been done. But when it is done, I'd like you to take a look at it. And some of it is, you know, it goes through the whole process of what the affordable housing process is for the borough. But the important part for the board is to realize that to get money from the borough, we would have to have, you'd have to get it from this affordable housing trust fund, and the only way that you would be able to access that would be to change the residency requirement to Monmouth, Mercer, and Ocean. Now, in speaking with the director, he had said, and you people probably know better than I do, that some residents, I think 2 residents, actually left Belmar and went to Wall senior housing, because many of the other senior housing authorities are open to residents from other districts. So it's something that the board should consider. I think it's a win-win proposition, because other than that, the borough really would not have a direct way to help out money-wise with the housing authority, and you know, and again, it would allow for people, relatives of Belmar residents, or anyone actually who lives in Monmouth, Ocean, and Mercer to come into Belmar. And I'm thinking of, you know, people who live here who might have elderly parents living in another county, in one of those other 2 counties, and they would be able to use the Belmar the housing here.
Jerry, can I ask you a question? I mean, Mr. Mayor, please. Is that with the voucher system or just regular?
No, this has nothing to do with
Nothing with
vouchers.
that other,
No.
with
This
that other
has no-
system
no.
that the guys
Has nothing
came
to
in
do
and
with
talked to
vouchers.
us?
I am not aware, no, this has nothing to do with
No,
vouchers.
it does not.
If this was the same.
No.
Okay,
But I-
this is different,
Yeah, it's
okay.
different, but I have one follow-up question though with that. So does that make all of our units affordable housing so that when one becomes available now, it has to go through the state process of being the, application process? Like I know for myself down in Manasquan,
Right.
we have 9 affordable units. We have, all the applications have to go to one centralized location or whatever, and then it's picked
Yeah,
from
but
there.
that's,
I'm not
that's
sure
in
how
it,
it's
that's,
different or not.
you're a housing authority. So your processes would be all the same as they are now. The only difference would be that instead of the preference for Belmar residents, the preference would be for
Anyway.
Monmouth, Mercer, and Ocean residents. Other than that, everything else stays the same.
So we would still take the applications in here?
Yes, yep, yep. It's just taking a local preference and putting it to a regional preference. And as I said, other housing authorities apparently have this, so it's not unheard of to do that. So,
You know,
I-
Paul sent it to the attorney to review as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, hopefully you'll be getting this out to them. Take a look at it, and I think we'll plan to be at the next meeting also to answer any questions that you might have about it. Okay?
I have a question, if
Yeah.
I may, Mayor. The circumstance that the borough finds itself in at this point in time, what has led to this situation where affordable housing is such a priority for you and your administration?
Okay, well, just to give you a little bit of a history, back in, I don't know if you've heard of Mount Laurel opinions and whatever, but back in the 70s, the Supreme Court established affordable housing as a constitutional right.
Yes.
Okay? It's like the right to have an attorney, if you can't afford one, we will apply one. Well, the New Jersey Supreme Court said affordable housing is a constitutional right. And every municipality had an obligation to provide their citizens with affordable housing. And it went through a number of rounds. There was 1 round, 2 rounds, and the 3rd round started in probably before 2015. And it got a little complicated because there was and I don't want to go into all the little details, but there was an office called the COA. It was the Coalition on Affordable Housing that was monitoring all of this. And towns would take their plans and they would give them to COA, and COA would say, oh, we approve, and then that plan would have to go into effect. Well, what happened was, Belmar did put in a plan with COA back in, I think it was 2015, don't quote me on that, but what happened then, COA basically went defunct. The courts took it over, and the court said, basically, everybody who filed a plan with COA needs to file it again with the courts, okay? Unfortunately, the borough of Belmar did not file again with the courts. So the 3rd round is ending next July. And when I came into office, I realized that, along with Business Administrator Kane, and said, we need to have our 3rd round of affordable housing plan done so that we can, move on to the 4th round, which is coming up. So, and we're under constitutional mandate to do that.
So
If we didn't do that, now let me there's one side effect. If we just said, oh, forget about it, we're not going to do anything, that opens us up to what they call builder remedy suits, which means a builder could come in and they could say to the court, court, Belmar has not complied with the 3rd round affordable housing. They don't have enough, there's a number out there of how many affordable housing we're supposed to have. And the builder or developer could say, I'm going to help Belmar, I want to build an 8-story building, on the corner of, whatever, I'll just make it up, on the corner of 6th Avenue and Main Street. And I'll put 20 affordable housing units in there to help Belmar meet its plan. And then the court basically will come to Belmar and say, what do you say about that? And now we're on the defensive to say, oh, well, we don't really know that we should, we want. And the court's gonna turn around and say, well, Belmar, you have a constitutional obligation to hit a certain number, and you're not hitting that number, so I might just let this builder build. And, these builder remedy suits take precedence over any zoning laws that you have in the borough. Or is it, they just get wiped away. And if the court permits it, you'll have an 8-story building, with 20 affordable housing. So what we did when we first got in, instead of allowing those builder remedy suits to kind of start, we filed the action with the court saying we want to comply with the third round. And, we're willing to work with, there's another group called Fair Share Housing that basically represents the unaffordable housing people, population. And they have to approve anything that we've done. So we went to the court and we said, yeah, we would like to do that, and we would like to come up with a plan so that we can start to meet our affordable housing. And in the meantime, some of the builders who own property said, oh yeah, we want to help too. But see, it's different because it's not a builder's remedy suit, but they come into court as interveners. And they say, oh yeah, we'll help them, and it's the same kind of thing. We want to build, we can give you 10 affordable housing units, but I need a 60 unit structure, on this piece of property here. Or I need an 80 unit structure over here. So, and that's what we've been going through for the last year and a half. It's a give and take between the court. We have 4 interveners right now. Is it 4? And the court, the 4 interveners, and the Fair Share Housing, and Belmar. So that's the process. That's how we've gotten into this third round. We're trying to get the third round finished, but we still haven't made final agreements with all of the different developers. But it's all overseen by the court. The court appoints somebody called a special master who meets with us and them and tries to come up with it's a negotiation as to what, I could agree, if you're a developer, we can agree, and then it goes to Fair Share Housing and they turn around and say, nah, there's not enough affordable housing in there. We instead of you giving me 5 units, we really like to see 8. So it's like a 3-way negotiation, and that's what we've been doing for the last year and a half. And we had attorneys come to the council meetings and explain it, and we're going to have them come again as we get more and more down the road. So that's how we got to this affordable housing thing. It could have been resolved years ago, had this same action been done, but it wasn't done, and it has to be done.
Well, that's a question I'm going to pose to you. So, based on what you said, I interpret it as an inherited issue that has come to the door of the current administration. Is it safe to say that?
Yeah. I mean, and yes, yeah, we are obligated to come up with an affordable housing plan for the third round. And, if we ignored it, then we would open up the borough to builder remedy suits, which means we, the borough, would have no say in what is going on in terms of development within the town, and the court would just make a deal, sit with Fair Share Housing and the developers, and they would decide what's going to be built.
But you still have a say with the interveners.
The interveners, yes, yeah, we have more of a say to negotiate with them, and the court, in fairness, is looking to see that everybody's basically being reasonable in terms of what they're proposing, and they take into account the area, they take into the account that we're a small town, so they're not going to, certainly not going to permit a 10-story building on Main Street, because that would just not be consistent with the structure and the feel of the borough. But it's a very long and tedious process, because the builders, they'll give you the affordable housing, but they want something in return, which is generally more apartments or more this,
More
you know,
units.
so more units. So they're trying to get more, for fair share housing is trying to get more, we're trying to keep everything down, you know, we're trying to get less, you know, we don't want mega structures, the town, and it's a negotiation going back and forth. And and then it gets even more complicated because then there's only so much land in the borough to develop. So even though there might be a number, and I'm just making this up, their number might be, oh, Belmar needs 100 affordable housing units. But when you look at all the free property and all the developable property, it could be that we can only provide 25 units, you know, because they call it a vacant land adjustment. You know, not all of the vacant land can be utilized for affordable housing. So we're trying to reach a number that is okay with the fair share housing and is okay with the court, and at the same time get the developers to come in to build what they can within reason so that we do get some affordable units. But that's the backstory to all of this. But and as it came out was though that whatever our number is, let's say it was, I'm just making it up again, let's say it was 70, and you know, and the developers are giving us 25. If for example, if the housing authority structure was part of the plan, you know, we could probably get another, I don't know if it's in the letter, I forget, we could probably get another 20 or some unit
Isn't it like
credits
half a unit?
for that.
Half a unit
For
for
that,
senior housing?
yeah. So it doesn't affect anybody living here or anything like that. It's just that the fair share housing will say, well, yeah, now we know that those, you know, that it's open to the region, so that we'll count that as some of the, you know, coming towards your affordable housing credit. And you know, it's a lot. It's very complicated. You know, there's a lot of numbers. There's a lot of things that have been done by the courts in the past that have established certain procedures. But you know, for the borough's point of view, the bottom line is we need to come up with a plan, you know, with these interveners and with the fair share housing that gets approved by the court. And the whole idea is once it gets approved by the court, then we're pretty much home free until the next round, which means that then we can you know, go back to our zoning ordinances. We can, you know, say that this is what we want, you know, on Main Street or different areas, and we won't have to worry about builder remedy suits coming in. But then we also then, at that point, have to start with every other municipality in the state in dealing with the fourth round. And that's even more complicated because the governor just passed a new law, and I shouldn't say the governor signed a law that was passed by the legislature redoing all the procedures for the fourth round. So no one knows how that's going to play out. So you know, we're trying to get to the end of the third round, which should have been done years ago, but it wasn't. So you know, we're stuck now to try to come up with a way to get ourselves this, they call it judgment of repose, they call it, from the court, which says that, okay, Belmar's okay. And we're not the only town, you know, in this predicament. If you've read the Asbury Park Press or the Coast Star, every once in a while you'll see articles about some of our local towns that have, you know, affordable housing issues. And, you know, they're making agreements to do this, they're making agreements to do that, and that's all part of this process that the court has taken over. So it's complicated, and it's, again, it's a constitutional, you know, right, so we can't just ignore it and say, oh, we don't want to do it.
Thank
So-
you, Mayor.
Well, I'll send out the stuff probably
Yeah, and
this week, and then
we'll be,
on the next agenda, I know there was a
Right.
resolution attached to it, I'll probably just
yeah,
put the resolution on the agenda for next
Right.
meeting,
right.
and then if there's any,
Yeah, our
discussion, we can
lawyers,
always pull it.
redevelopment lawyers
Yeah.
did the resolutions
resolution.
and all that, and they already know that there were two, off the top of their heads, they knew there were two towns where they did this, and they used the Affordable Housing Trust Fund monies to help out their housing authorities. So that's where we're at, and like I said, if you have questions, you know, try to jot them down and whatever, and I guess your next meeting is in July?
July, yeah,
First
first
Monday.
Monday. What is that Monday, though? Hold on.
I think the first, isn't it?
I don't know, I gotta look at my calendar. Yeah, the first, so it'll be July 1st.
Okay, and I would say if anyone has any particular questions, I don't know if they can funnel them through you or the director, or you can just send them to me directly. This way we don't have to wait till the meeting, you know, if there's a question that might be useful for everyone to have an answer to before the meeting. Okay? Sorry for giving you the whole history of the.
I
It wasn't my intention.
have a question.
Yes, we have a question. Question for the question.
Is this a public document? Can I find this? Is this,
Yeah, this is a public document.
so I could maybe.
Just give me your email address and I'll send it to you.
I will do that.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secrets here. This is all public information, so. This is mostly the law and what's going on, so.
Okay.
Do we have access to any?
Yes. Anybody
She's gonna
else?
send you, oh, you're not on the board.
No.
Just the board members?
Yeah, right now, board
Let me
members.
get it to the board members first.
Right. Any other members of the public?
I'm Maria Rosanaro, your council liaison. I just wanted to thank Paul and Mike and Ellen and all of the volunteers who helped us with our spring cleanup. We did a lot of weeding out in the front. We did get our soil samples that we sent off to Rutgers. We did get that back. Apparently our soil is poor. That just means that we just need to come up with a plan. I don't think it's going to be solved tomorrow, but it needs to, I don't have a green thumb, it has to look at the nutrients in the soil and things that we might be able to fertilize it with. So there'll be a plan coming, and maybe the Environmental Commission can help us with it. Another thing I just wanted to point out, thank you, Mayor, for coming, is that it's so hard to get funds in, and I know you're looking at a variety of ways to do that with, Section 8 vouchers. This is not Section 8 vouchers. This is separate. This would be just opening up, instead of just Belmar residents getting that priority, it would be to all of your, to Mercer, Monmouth, and Ocean counties. So it's a little different. Your application process would remain the same. What it would allow us to do, and this is what the mayor was saying, anytime there's a development in town, the developers have to pay, or the builders have to pay a percentage into an affordable housing trust fund. And we could have been getting that in for years, but we didn't. But we are now. Now we're able to collect it because we are in negotiations, we are making strides to be in compliance. And so I would love that we could use the funds that all of these developers are taking advantage of our beautiful Belmar, and being able to say, okay, well, let's use some of that for us, right? Because you're already here. Let's not wait years for, federal grants or whatever it is that we need. It would be faster. Not to say we don't still need the federal grants. So that's my soapbox thing.
Thank you.
Yay, yeah, go ahead.
Missy?
Hi. I have a couple of good things I'd like to mention. First of all, I'd like to thank the people who worked on the cleanup project. It looks great. It improves the curb appeal. It makes this place look welcoming. Okay, that's very, very important for people who are looking, driving by, and they're thinking, oh, I wonder if I want to send an application in for someone in my family. So that's very good. And we bought 4 beautiful garden geranium planters. They're patriotic theme. You can see them around the building. That's great too. So it takes teamwork to do something. And it's great to see. The other thing I want to talk about is did some research on the retaining walls. I spoke to Mike about it. And he was saying, oh, we'll paint it But asking if he was aware of German Schmier. And this is a motor that they use to put on brick. And it's very durable. It lasts years and years, probably it'll outlast this building. And it doesn't peel, it doesn't crack. The only con about it is that it's labor intensive. So, maybe we could get some young kids over here and volunteer to help with that. On May 30th, Ellen and I arranged from our county sheriff's office to come here and take photo ID for emergency, medical emergency, and about 15 tenants got their mug shots, and the cards will be mailed individually to them within 2 weeks. So they'll get them about June 12th or so. Okay, and then we talked about the improvement plan about a month ago, 2 months ago. We mentioned about getting comfortable chairs for the front patio. Today when I was walking, I noticed beautiful chairs on 5th Avenue, 204 5th Avenue, black metal, great condition. The only thing they need is a seat and back cushion. They would be great. I was thinking I could go over and check them and pick them up. Okay, what else? One thing I want to thank the commissioners who show up every month. There are about 4 of you that come every month. I thank you for coming because it shows that you care, you're doing your civic duty. It's very, very important. I notice this every time I attend the meetings. I'm saying, where are the other commissioners? And I feel that if they don't have the time or they're not interested, they resign unless someone else fills the seat. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Missy.
Thank you, Missy.
Anybody else? Any other comments?
Go ahead, Char.
Let me come up front so everyone can hear this. This is something positive. There's usually not much positive here. Not that I'm complaining. The other day, I work over at DJ, so when I come home at 3 o'clock in the morning, I walk the building to make sure that everything's locked, there's nobody in the hallway, and that my friends, my sweet lady friends here, are all safe. 2 days during a week or so ago, I think Amy probably might have been here when I had to talk to Paul about this, I found the door by the laundry room was not closing correctly. So I thought that somebody might have put something in the lock. This has happened in the past. I've called the cops several times. We try to take care of this so it's kind of invisible because I don't want to create any more tension that's already here. So I went to Paul about it. Paul walked with me to the door. I opened it and showed him the problem. I went to get a cappuccino. By the time I got back here from having the cappuccino, not only was the door fixed, but a whole new mechanism was installed. So I want to let you guys know, if you're worried about Paul being slow, that's pretty doggone fast. And I think you guys need to remember that this man does care. And so does Michael. I know there's problems here. That's between all of you. But man, that's quick. So remember that.
Thank you.
So if you become frightened with something, if you think something is wrong, these guys are busy guys. There's a lot of pressure on them.
Yes, there is.
I try to understand that. You can't be every place at once, but that's impressive. I couldn't even, I know a lot of people here, I couldn't have got it done that quick. So, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Let them know.
Anybody else? We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.